Well, hello, Sherry Ruskis here with my dear friend, Liz Wendling. Liz, welcome to the Bright Shiny Object Project podcast.
Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
All right, let's start with the bright shiny object. Let me
Okay.
ask you this question. What is the bright shiny object that has gotten you up all these years to work with a variety of people in sales trainings? What is that bright shiny object that guided you there and keeps you there?
It's the same mantra that I hear for the last 20 years from people. They love what they do, but they hate to sell. They truly hate to sell. So my mission is to show people that if you hate the only thing that keeps you in business, you're in trouble. Big
Wow.
trouble. Big fat trouble.
Big
Yeah.
trouble. All right. So let me ask you this then. So this month we're talking about the importance of our imagination and here in the podcast. And so how can someone and how do you help them imagine themselves as a good salesperson when, we've all seen the bad salespeople or the ones that we don't want to be. And I think, we can talk about the used car salesman was always the epic one in the past. How do you help people to get past that and to imagine themselves as just sharing their product or service?
Well, great question. And look, there are bad actors in every profession, right? From Congress to plastic surgeons to car mechanics to web designers, there's always going to be someone who is not serving the customer at their highest and best self. That's never going to go away. But if you hang your hat on that and say, oh, I don't want to be that, because that's what all salespeople do. They do it badly. So I don't want to be that. And then people stop right there instead of saying, okay, I'm at choice. I'm at choice. I could be a crappy singer. I can go get singing lessons. I could be a crappy dancer, or I can take dance lessons. So you're at choice every moment in your business. So if you don't want to be salesy and pushy and used car salesman and all of that, then you have to make a decision to what you want to be. Do you want to be confident, strong, self-assured? Do you want to show up as someone who's authentic and understands how to talk to another human being who's interested in their product and service? That's it.
And like you say, that's it, but that's a steep thing for many people. Give us some idea of some steps to take to guide us towards that.
Well, it first starts with that choice that I am at choice, and I am going to make that choice that I'm going to develop the skills, find the skills, hone the skills, find someone who can show me those skills, and make the step in the direction of how can I start getting better. So it could be something as simple as shifting your mindset. Take your mind off of all the things you think selling is and start to declare what it is. So it could be, maybe you're saying to yourself, I don't want to be one of those pushy, aggressive salespeople. We'll turn that around and say, I am a confident and strong businesswoman who knows how to sell my products and services. It's just looking at it from a different way. I always use the example of the eye doctor. Is this better or is this better? Is this a better? Like, can you see better here or better here? And then you choose. You're telling the doctor what view is better for you, what is clearer for you. So again, we're all at choice. And instead of digging your heels in and declaring, I don't want to be that, shift the tides and start declaring what you do want to be. And it could be just in that declaration. And when you start declaring something and start living into that, changes can start to happen. But you do need skills and a process. You can't just wake up and say, I'm a good salesperson. If you don't have the process and don't understand how people make buying decisions and how you could match up your sales process with their buying process, you don't know how those two work, you'll always be struggling.
So Liz, are you saying that an affirmation is not enough?
It's just not enough.
It's
It is
just
not enough.
not enough.
That's right. It's a good start, but it is not enough if you want what you say you want, right? If you want a thriving business, you can't just declare you want it. You do have to take steps in the direction to that. So
and what about the fear of the no, right? So many people are afraid of the no. Like what do you say to take steps around that? or
Well,
leaps around it.
that funny little 2-letter word stops so many people dead in their tracks. And we face rejection all day, every day. When someone says, hey, you want to go out to lunch? No, I can't do that this week. Or you want to meet next week for a cup of coffee? No, I can't do that. That's a form of a no and rejection. But way too many people give that 2-letter word so much power. They put the charge on it. They put the meaning on it versus saying some will, some won't. Just move on. That's the nature of it. If you're putting yourself out there with a product and service and someone says no, you just move on. Do we buy? Think about how we buy. Do we say yes to everything that comes our way? No. So why would a no, if you're equipping yourself with a no to say to someone, oh, no, thank you, I already have that, or no, thanks, I already donated last week. If you use the power of the no, why can't anyone else? Why do you make it mean something so personal to you? They're not saying you to the human being you, they're saying no to the product or service you're selling. That's it. So take the negative charge off it. Stop giving it so much power.
Yeah. And having so much fear around it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That fear factor, which
Yeah.
can stop us. We had a conversation not too long ago, which is why I knew that I had to have you back on the podcast again. And you talked about how you were out on a walk and it hit you about, it's really like a clinic, like a medical clinic. Talk about that when dealing with the sales process in your sales clinic.
Yeah, it is sort of funny how I'll call it so divinely dropped into my mind. I was out walking and I was thinking about doing a little rebranding or creating a new program in my business. And what came to me was the sales clinic. And what I thought about was how when you go into a clinic or a doctor's office, you fill out some paperwork around, what's hurting, how long it's been hurting, what are the modalities you've tried, what are the things that are still not working, what are you resisting, do you take Advil or Tylenol, do you stick with it, or do you start your plan and then you drop off? And all of a sudden, this started dropping in as that's what I'm doing for people. They're checking into my clinic. I'm asking them those questions. Where does it hurt? What's in the way? What do you fear? Where's the part of your sales process that you get stuck on? What is your mindset telling you? What is your body telling you? So what I do now is that turned into a business scan and a sales MRI. So I start every one of my clients with a business scan and a sales MRI. Just like a scan and an MRI does, is it looks at the inner workings of someone's body. I do it based on their business. So I get inside their business and look at what's really working, what's not, what are the inefficiencies, what's getting in the way, what are you doing well, what's working, let's keep doing that. And what are things that maybe are outdated? Maybe you have an outdated prescription that you're taking. You forgot to look at it and it expired 9 years ago. How many of us have prescriptions or gels or potions or lotions in our cabinets that expired in 2014, right? And you put it on and you still expect it to work. It's like, why is this antibiotic cream's not working, but it expired 12 years ago? I wonder why. So it may work, but it's not as effective as a brand new tube. So that's where I started coming up with taking what I do with people and baking it around a sales clinic where we're looking at everything holistically, your body, your internal workings of your business, your mindset, your skill set, putting a prescription together and a plan that works uniquely for you. No one else. I don't do one size fits all consulting, coaching, or training. Not at all, never have. It is truly directed right to the person.
Liz, and I think that's one of the things that you and I have in common with each other is that thing. I do not believe that there is a template that works for everyone. And I see it too much in the coaching industry today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That it's, put 10,000 people in a room. The same thing will work for all 10,000 of them,
So true. So true.
And especially with
$10,000 too, right?
Oh, and for $10,000. Exactly. Yeah. Down.
Yes.
You can pay the second half later.
Right.
What do you find is the biggest or well, not the biggest, but the most common reason that people get stuck?
is the mindset first, is this, they're stopping themselves, telling themselves, I don't want to be pushy, salesy, or aggressive. So what winds up happening is, so you declare you don't want to be something. What winds up happening is you do the opposite. So I don't want to be this. So I'll be weak, wishy-washy, and wimpy. I don't want to be like that. So I'll take on the opposite of that, which, so if you look at the sales, I call it the sales spectrum, and we're all on it. You're either aggressive, pushy, annoying, or you're wimpy, wishy-washy, and weak. Okay. So they don't want to be the other side. So they pull the pendulum swings all the way to the other side. So nobody wants to do business with someone who's aggressive, but no one wants to do business with someone who's wishy-washy, weak, and wimpy either. So you don't want to be this. So you take on the opposite, and it's the same thing as being aggressive. What people are looking for today is somebody who's in the middle, somebody who's strong and confident and assertive, not aggressive, someone who is a professional equal, who meets people where they are and can speak to them from that middle place, not that wimpy, wishy-washy, oh, I'll discount. Oh, yeah, no problem. We could do that because
You could just have it here.
Yes, yeah, I'll just give it to you free if you really want it. Nobody values that. That's not valued. So what I teach is how to find that middle ground. And that's where the customized stuff comes in, because I can get a sense of someone's personality, and we'll do the eye doctor test. Do you like saying it this way, or do you like saying it this way? What about this? How about that? Have you thought about approaching it like this? And then suddenly the light bulbs start going off and saying, oh my gosh, I never thought of saying it that way. I for the last 20 years, I've been saying it like this, even though it's not working. It's that expired prescription again. But somebody told them, oh, you need to try this. This works for me. So they adopt an approach that doesn't necessarily fit them, doesn't fit their body, doesn't fit the inner workings of their business, but they keep doing it because someone told them that was the way to be successful. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to figure out my own 10-step plan to success, not someone else's plan. We have no shortage of books that tell us, here's the way to success. Here's the way to eat. Here's the way to go to the gym. No, that's suggestions, but you have to stop long enough and stop relying on the external world and go inward and say, does this fit me? Does this sound like me? Is this something I can see myself saying all day, every day, and be consistent with it? Or do I have to develop a new language that fits me like a custom-made coat? And that's the part that is so important, because when you have a process that fits you because it's made for you and you use it every day, that's the way that you can find success, because it's yours. It's not somebody's borrowed process.
And do you think that with that, there needs to be, how do I want to say this, a genuine way that you approach different people? Because just like you can't do it just like everybody else, everybody you approach to sell to, they're different. So how do you look at that and getting to know what other people need as a salesperson?
Okay, good question. And that's one of those questions you can probably ask 10 people and get 10 different answers, but
Sure.
But I don't necessarily believe in coding someone or saying, oh, they're outgoing, so I'll talk to them this way, or oh, they're the kind of person that needs a lot of information, so I'll speak to them that way. So there's no shortage of personality tests that put people into four groups, right? You're either give me it directly, that's how I like it, make it fun, make it informative, be caring. And while that may help on some level, I say strip that away, look at the human being you're in front of, start a conversation with that person's, not that person's head, but that person's heart and soul, and let all of that be revealed to you versus you saying, oh, I can tell she's from the East Coast, she likes it direct, I'm going to speak to her. And here's a perfect example. I was talking to somebody about going on a cruise. Now he knows me, and he said, I know you like it straightforward, so here's what I think you should do. And he went right to what he thought I was, but I had 100 questions. So the person who likes to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, he didn't talk to me that way. he could have said to me, Liz, I know you want to look at some cruises, but let's talk about some of the questions that you have. So I know that we're driving this conversation in the right way. Not everybody knows every cruise ship that's out there. That's my job. But I want to find out from you, what are your questions before we get started? So I could have said, I don't know if a big cruise ship is better than a small ship. Even though I've cruised before, it's been 5 years. So a lot has changed in 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
And so he addressed me as the direct person I am, which I am on every personality test. I am direct and straightforward. But that doesn't mean I make decisions that way all the time.
Mhm.
So when we do that to someone, we box them into the corner and then we wind up selling them right out of our process. They're like, okay, well, thanks anyway. I'm going to think about it. Versus truly sitting with someone, let's say you and I hopped on a Zoom call, is saying, Sherry, yeah, I know you wanted to talk about X, Y, and Z. And before we do that, I want to get a sense of you. I want to understand you a little bit more so that at the end of our conversation, it's successful instead of me thinking you know all about the sales process or all about sales. I want to know where you're at and the questions that you have. Now I listen. Now I do. Now I listen from my heart, not my head, not to jump in and try to sell you. It's to start uncovering what's in the way. And that can only be done when we approach people as human beings, not a personality type. Their personalities might be revealed in the conversation, but if we box people into a corner or sell the way that we buy, we're screwed over and over.
What would you say in that, in the arena of not talking face to face? And, I know I get it all the time in my inbox. People just boom, coming in after me, man.
Yes.
And, like, how would you say to shift that in original connection with people if you're doing it, let's say, by email or
So
social media?
Are you saying an email that you want to introduce your products and
Yeah,
services?
so maybe it's more that you want to get to know somebody, like you would really like to have this person as a customer or client.
Okay.
So how do you initially recommend the initial approach so that it doesn't feel salesy?
Mhm.
Because I mean, like I said, all day long, I'm getting them in
Okay.
my inbox going, you need our product. Boom.
Yes.
Like, yeah, like a hole in my head. I need your product.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, nobody buys that way anyway, right? They don't. If
Right.
someone drops in my inbox and says, "Oh, hi, Liz, I notice you have a website." Oh, really? Thank you for that
You're
insight.
brilliant.
Yeah, I noticed that you're on LinkedIn or that you like the color blue. Okay, that first of all, that's a 1995 tactic to notice something. And everyone is still using it. Oh, looks like we're connected on LinkedIn, so I thought I'd reach out to you. Oh, duh, like lose that stuff, first of all. So right out of the gate, the person who says, I don't want to be salesy is showing up salesy. That's
Mm.
salesy, right? Or saying, I don't mean to bother you, or I'm just popping into your inbox, or I hope you had a great weekend. All that stuff that means nothing. So when you say, I hope you had a great weekend, now buy my products and services, that's giant turn off, right?
Right.
So it's more about speaking to people with the problem they have. So if you're doing a cold call or cold email, Sherry, and you're popping in on LinkedIn and maybe you, let's say business coach, you're looking at business coaches. You wouldn't say, hi, my name is Sherry and I'm really good. I can help you double and triple your revenue rates and write the sales pitch coming at you. You would possibly, I'm just going to riff here, but create an email that makes it sound like, I know your pain because I work with enough business coaches. I know they typically struggle with this. I don't know if that's something you're bumping up against, but I'm approaching it from I don't know if we're fit or if we should ever even connect or communicate moving forward, but I'm not going to assume you have a problem. Nothing irritates me more when someone pops in my LinkedIn, doesn't look at my profile, tries to sell me a sales course to triple my business. How do you
Right.
know I'm having that problem? You're automatically assuming I'm struggling and I haven't eaten in 3 weeks. No.
I get
And
that constantly. Yeah.
yeah, and it is such a turnoff. But unfortunately, Sherry, this is the bad actors that we're talking about earlier. People are still being taught to spam people, to jump in their inbox, their inboxes are already so bloated, and you're further bloating their inboxes with spammy messages that are self-serving and all about you. And at the end of those messages, they say, I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to set up a 30-minute time. Here's my calendar. And all people receive when they see that is, oh yeah, I bet you'd love to schedule a time with me because you want to further sell me. Delete. Then they say LinkedIn doesn't work. Oh, that stuff doesn't work. No, your approach doesn't work because you're being salesy. The very thing you claim you don't want to be is how you're showing up. Got to stop.
Yeah.
Got to stop.
Yeah, very much so. Because it's wasting so many people's time. I mean,
Correct.
I think that's the other piece is how much time I spend in my inbox every day, just deleting shit out of it.
Exactly. It's not fair. And so I have no problem deleting things, unsubscribing from things. If you think that that approach is going to work and people will tolerate that moving forward from today, they're not. I sit on enough podcasts and panels, and people are tired of it. It doesn't work. Excessively emailing someone with your sales pitch is not going to work. You are ruining your credibility and any chance of starting a connection with someone.
What about effective follow-up? So, that's the one thing that I definitely see a lot is that people don't follow up. Like I might show interest in something.
Mhm.
And then I never, unless it's that person that's eagerly coming after me,
Yeah.
but that then they don't do it, or I'll have clients that are
Mhm.
just are not following up.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts around that?
Oh, the other F word. Follow up is a huge topic. I think it stems from two things. You said earlier, fear. So people are afraid to follow up and get the no from someone else. So they give the no to themselves. They take the no themselves versus connecting with someone, finding out where they are, and actually closing the loop. You started your business to create business and generate business, but then you drop the ball at the follow-up stage is blows me away that people don't do that. And so that's one thing is fear. If they fear the rejection so much, to open up an email and have that email say, thank you for your time, but we've gone in a different direction. Or I appreciate what you shared to me, but your program's a little expensive, so I can't afford it right now. That to them, they take it so personally and it means so much to them that they'd rather just give the no to themselves and say, oh, they're just not interested. They can't afford me. So they make up that big, bold excuse and give it to themselves and take the no and move on. And they work so hard to get that person on the phone. And then they literally cut the string versus let's say they did have a follow-up conversation with them. What's wrong with that? At least you showed I'm a professional and I don't drop the ball on people. And that's the message that you're sending to people is if I don't follow up with you, look at what a lousy professional I am. I don't care. That's a giant message you send out to the world that you don't close the loop and you're acting unprofessional.
That affects the down the road potential sale.
For sure.
Right.
So follow up and how I teach follow up. First of all, nobody who ever goes through my programs ever uses the F word. They don't use follow up, touching base, reaching out and checking in. And why? Billions of people are following up, checking in, touching base, and reaching out. How many emails are in your inbox now? Just checking in, just wanted to follow up.
Getting back to the top.
Yep, exactly. Just thought I'd bump my email to the top. And they are so ineffective because it only makes you have to follow up another time with another email. Hey, I'm not sure if you saw my last 7 follow-up emails. Just thought I'd follow up again. If your follow-up messages are flopping, it's because there's no value in that message. It's because you didn't pique their interest. You didn't say anything intriguing. You didn't say anything that compelled them to respond to you. You get deleted and they know, oh, eventually she'll get the hint. She'll keep following up with me. And when I don't respond, she'll just stop. Versus crafting beautiful quote unquote follow-up messages that keep the momentum alive. And I have a 2-hour workshop that I do on that. Can't even go into the description of how that's done. But to give you a little nugget is I talk about follow-up even before I type out my first follow-up email. Long before, when I have somebody on the phone or face-to-face or a Zoom call, we talk about how we are staying connected. What does our connection look like moving forward? How are you and I communicating with each other? If I don't hear from you, what do you want me to do? If you don't hear from me, how will you communicate with me? Or what would you like our relationship to look like moving forward? How do you like to be communicated with? Make it a conversation. Talk about standing out at the end of a process, where you're that strong professional at the end saying, what you're conveying really is, I'm not the type of professional that won't follow up, that drops the ball on people with your situation. I don't do that. That's not how I operate. And you won't get that from me. You're communicating this without ever saying it. So some of my clients will say to their clients, look, we're the type of company that doesn't like to drop the ball on people. Clearly, you're looking for a tax accountant or a financial planner or a web designer or a new consultant to help you with X, Y, and Z. We just spent 45 minutes together. I don't want to pretend like I never met you, but I also don't want to pester you either. What would you like us to do next? How would you like this to play out? And then you talk about it. Then that conversation becomes the basis of your next follow-up message. You never have to just follow up or just touch base because you know someone shared with you exactly how it's going to happen.
I love that. I love that.
And it's such a gift you give to yourself because you're the gift of the professional. I'm standing in my highest and best self by not allowing this person to feel like I just dismissed them after a 45-minute meeting. And that person gets the gift of, wow, this person really does care. I could feel that. I could see that he or she doesn't want to drop the ball on me. Things happen, right? We get in conversations with someone who's ready to work with us or say yes, but something happens on their end. They have the permission to be able to say, hey, Sherry, my hair's on fire. Something crazy has happened. Let's stay in touch. When somebody starts that banter with you and allows that banter, it's like a great tennis match.
Mm-hmm.
Ball just keeps going over the net. Every time your ball goes over the net and the ball comes back, you know the communication is open, it's pure, and it's honest. If it doesn't, and you keep lobbing F words and follow-ups and touching bases over the net and it never comes back, it's your message, not them. It's what you're saying, not them. It's your impact, not them. It's not working. And I see this happen. People leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table monthly because of this one little piece.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you want to grab onto that nugget within the conversation that really means the most to that person versus your preconceived notions of what they want. And,
Yes.
What's interesting to me is, I'm not a big fan of networking events. Like
Yes.
I hate them
Yes.
and avoid them at all costs. Yeah. Another thing we have in common. So the thing is, and why I grew to hate them was that
Mhm.
people weren't looking for the nugget. They were like scanning you to see if like, is this live wire here?
Yes.
Is this,
Yes.
fresh meat that,
Yep.
and they weren't looking for the nuggets. And some of the best customers that I have gotten along my way are the ones that I've gotten into genuine conversations with and really connected,
Yes.
really had that connection where, and then did the F word afterwards, but in
Yes.
a genuine way,
Right.
because, and reminding them and me of our conversation and why it was such a good thing. I mean, you and I are an example of that.
That's
That
right.
just,
That's how
we met on a webinar how many
right.
years ago now, right?
Long time ago, like 12 years, I think.
Exactly.
And you bring up such a good point that when we're out and about, it doesn't even have to be a networking event. It could be a luncheon, a barbecue, a bar mitzvah, or sitting at a bar. It doesn't matter. When there's a genuine connection, I like to teach my clients to be the person who steps up and begins the conversation. So let's say we switch business cards. I'll always say, you know what? I know we're going to get back to our office. Things are going to get crazy. I'm going to make a commitment to you, and I'm going to email you when I get back to my office. You can expect that by the end of the day.
I love
So
that.
I take control, take charge, and show them that this is how I am as a business owner. Now, they might not really want to talk to me, but they're giving me their card and they're just saying that, which a lot of people do. But
Mhm.
my communication is going to open that up when I reach out to them or follow up with them. I'll say, Sherry, you were a treat to meet, or our conversation was so nice. Not, I was so delighted to meet you, because that makes it about me. Make it collaborative. You were so enjoyable to sit next to and get to know you a little bit more at that lunch. When we left, I promised I would get back to you, or as promised, here's my email. Wondered if you were open to grab a cup of coffee. What your schedule looks like to reconnect. Not, I would love to meet with you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I would love makes it about me. It's not an invitation. You're telling me what you want versus inviting me. So when you say, are you open? Are you around in the next couple of weeks to hop on a Zoom call? What's your schedule look like to grab lunch? It's collaborative. It's an invitation.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
it's lands so much better than, I would love to grab a cup of coffee with you. Well, what if they don't want to, they don't love it? What if they don't really want to? Then you put them on the spot. There's a sort of a little sticky thing
Right.
that comes with the I would love to, and people don't like it. It's not, like I said, it's more of a telling than an inviting.
Mhm. Most definitely. Um, what, so, because sales is one of many things for a lot of entrepreneurs, right? It's just another hat that we need to put on.
Exactly.
What, if you look at sales as a bright, shiny object, what is something that you find in the planning process of sales so that you're not running after the wrong? Because my belief with bright, shiny objects, we need them as entrepreneurs because they keep us
Yes.
energized, etc. But it's running after the wrong bright, shiny objects that get us into trouble. What would you say are the wrong bright, shiny objects?
Oh, I have not heard that. That's a really good question. The thing that's dropping into my head right now is stay. I don't know why words are coming in. Staying too long at the party. And what I mean by
Mm,
that
that's a good one. Yeah.
is just because someone shows a nugget of, oh yeah, can you get back to me? Or, oh yeah, we're still thinking about it. Oh yeah, let me talk to my boss again. Instead of, now we don't know how uncomfortable the other person is with the truth, right? They might be afraid to give you a no because they have a fear of saying no to someone. So they drag someone through the sales process and keep them on the hook longer than they should versus telling them the truth. So again, something I teach in my programs is how to qualify someone, how to know whether someone is dragging you along because they're afraid to say no, or is this someone that truly wants what you have, but is still going through their decision-making process. That's where that strong professional who doesn't just touch base and just follow up, where they step up now. Instead of just following up, this is an opportunity to step up and say, Sherry, I know you and I have been talking for the last 3 months about X, Y, and Z. I know you said it was a priority, but I'm getting the feeling that it's not anymore. If I'm wrong, let's talk about it. But for right now, I'm going to pause my communication because it looks like some other things have taken the front burner and this has been put on the back burner. If I am way off base, and then this is more words than I would say, but if I'm way off base, let me know. But right now, I'll reconnect with you in the future. But if something changes, please let me know. So it's a way of letting that person on the other side off the hook if they want it. But if not, the person says, no. If you only understood what's going on here, or the basement flooded, our house was, whatever it is, become clean. And sometimes there's other stuff going on in people's lives, like there really is,
There really is. Yeah.
there really is. And
Your needs aren't just their needs, which the thing I want to say about that too is that I feel like unfortunately, sometimes because they don't have their sales hat on a regular basis, only when they, I always say, like, until they look at the bank account and go, oh shit. I mean, it's the same
Right.
with marketing, right? That
That's right.
I forgot to market. I forgot to
Yes.
do the sales. And that's why they're so desperate, because they need the money now, right? And
Yes.
people can feel that,
Oh
right?
my
I mean,
gosh, with every follow-up, touching base, reaching out and checking in email, they can feel it. It's, I need my quota. Mama's got to eat, have to pay the mortgage. And no one buys that. They just don't. But here's what people I know deep in their heart and soul they appreciate is transparency. Sherry, I'm not the type of business owner who chases after people. I just don't. When there's a good fit and what I have really suits your needs, we're going to figure it out. If it means we put it off for 6 months, we put it off for 6 months. I'm never going to make you do something you don't want to do, but I will not allow you to sit on the fence and do nothing. You're going to either, because that hurts everyone's ass. You either jump to the no or you say yes. But I'm going to hold your feet to the fire until you make a decision one way or the other. You and I are going to talk through that. But if you continue to sit on your status quo and sit on your butt and do nothing, then that's just the equivalent of doing nothing. That's the equivalent of a no. And I'm going to take that as a no and move on. Let's not waste each other's time. Now, I don't always speak like that with those exact words, but depending on the relationship and the communication I have with this person, sometimes I can speak to them that way. I just sent an email yesterday to someone. My subject line wasn't just following up. It just said bad timing, ? And I used her name. And I said, I didn't say I'm just following up. I said, the last time we spoke, you mentioned this. You said you were figuring out that. It's been some time now. Do we have to recalibrate and restart that conversation, or has this dropped to a low priority status? And I didn't follow up in that sense and push someone away. I actually drew them back into the conversation and give them an opportunity to say, you know what, this fell off the radar. Let's reconnect in 6 months. But because that's life, that's business, that's what happens.
and I think it's important too to use your instinct. I mean, I had someone the other day, it was a referral that came to me, and we played a little telephone tag. When we did connect, there was just like these bizarre excuses that I'm like, already as a coach, if somebody has that many excuses going into it, like, no, thank you.
Yes, right. This is not going to be good.
Yeah, you're not going to do the work. I don't think so. So, and to know when to walk away too.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah. So all that to say, when is it? How many times do I communicate with someone when I know it's time to step aside and let them go figure out their stuff? Because not everyone says yes on your time frame. Get that, know that, feel that. But if you treat them like the human being they are and give them the grace they need to make the right decision for themselves, they'll come back if it's right. And they won't if it's not. And when we can truly get that in our heart and our soul, life and business just really happens. It's beautiful. And I know this has happened to you. You talked to someone, you were kind to someone, you gave them that grace, and they called you 4, 5, 6 months, a year later and said,
I've had
now
it 3-4 years later, right?
yes,
And I
yes.
think that's the important part about marketing in today's world, that you're visible somehow so that, they see you. I mean, with my victory letter that I send out every week, it's not a huge salesy piece, and that's not the purpose of it, because it's really to inspire people. That's why I send it out, but it's also triggers people to go, oh yeah, I need to talk to her about that,
Exactly. Yep.
So, but if you just stay cocooned in your little world and they don't see you anywhere,
Right.
then they forget.
And it's also doing it from a place of what feels light and right to me. I tell every one of my clients, if you're prospecting or you're putting something out because someone told you you have to, but internally you're feeling like, oh, I don't know about this. I want you to honor the I don't know about this.
Right.
And calibrate to a place where when you hit the post, it's from your highest and best self. That post is going to be received with the intention that it was put out, not because it's Tuesday and my coach said I have to post every Tuesday. No, you do it from that place that is light and right and easy and intentional, and watch what happens when you do it from that place. Too many people
Mhm.
just do things just to do it. And they're doing the doing, not looking at who they're being when they're doing it.
Oh, I
If
love
I'm
that.
being cranky and resentful when I'm doing a post, well, guess how it's going to be received versus waiting till my crankiness and resentfulness passes and then doing it when I'm in a better
Right.
heart
Or
space.
doing it while you're saying, I hate social media.
Yes, yes, that's exactly right. Yes. Thanks for making that point, the cherry on top of that.
I would love to know, I'm doing a lot of work right now around leadership because I think it's so important in our world right now. Who have been your champions along the way that have really inspired you as an entrepreneur and in your quest to have your sales clinics and be the sales coach that you've been all these years? Who has really championed you along the way?
Oh my gosh. I think I'm gonna sound like Kanye West. I'm gonna say myself.
Here I am.
No, I have to, I can't attribute one person to it. I would say it's myself, my drive for my quest to be better every single day. It's the stuff I read, the things I listen to, the people I expose myself to, the insights I gather from a podcast or a person that I'm out there listening to. I'm always looking for a little nugget here and there. And then ask myself, is that something I want to take on? Is that something that really fits me? Ooh, that I like what she said about that. And then I go on my own journey to dive into that concept. So for me, it's me at this point in my life. In the past, I could rattle off Maya Angelou and Eckhart Tolle and Oprah Winfrey, and they started the process. But until when I realized I'm my own guru, I'm it.
Oh,
When I
I'm my
go
own
into
guru.
my
I
heart,
love that.
when I go into my heart and I ask myself what's in store for me today, I truly know what I need to do, and I also listen to what I'm being guided to. So if I'm my guru, why don't I start here first and then externally? I always have a podcast. I love listening to podcasts, YouTubes, but I don't go out there for the information. I first check with myself. What does my
Mm.
soul want to listen to today? What am I in the mood for? It could be a gossip podcast. There's one that I listen to. It's all about gossip. Once a week, I get my, it's called Juicy Scoop. I get my little scoop of what's going on and I listen to it while I'm
I
in the
love
gym one day.
that.
And the rest of the time I ask my soul, what do I need today? What do you want to listen to? What will fill you up? So I check here first before I go externally. And I try to teach my clients that first because
Mhm.
that's really the source. That's our best source. It's not the news, it's not YouTube, it's not a podcast. It's another source, but don't make it your only source. Start here and then go out.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Any last things you'd like to share with our listeners before we say goodbye today?
Stop making selling so challenging and difficult. It's not. It is a skill that can be learned like any skill. If you want to be a better cook, you could take a cooking class, right? Why would you think selling wouldn't be that? If you're not good at it and you know it's keeping you from great success, take a course, get a class, find something that works for you. Start
Get a
peeling back
coach. Yeah.
and a coach. Buy
Mhm.
my books, go to my website, go to YouTube, listen to some videos, figure out what starts to resonate with you, but don't stop there. Keep being hungry of around what can I do better today? What little 1% thing can I change today? One little nugget that I could do differently in my business that overall in the grand scheme, 6 months of my life, I could start getting really good at.
Beautiful. Where can people find you?
LizWendling.com is the first place they can start, which is my website, or they can go to Amazon and type my name in and all my books will come
Her
up.
books pop up. Uh-huh.
Yep. LinkedIn and YouTube.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Liz, my friend, always learning something from you every time we talk.
I adore you so much and so grateful to know you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. Take good care.
Bye.